Hi, Vicky. Hi, Zulme. I'm so glad you guys made it on time today. Um, I'm also on time, just a few seconds late, but I'm glad everyone is here and ready to learn. Hello. So, today we're doing English, first additional language for grade 10, and this lesson is brought to you guys by STEM Lockdown Digital School. Today we'll be doing language structures and conventions, focusing on active and passive voice. I am your favorite presenter, Miss Pearl Langa, and like I mentioned before, I am going to be teaching you guys today. Who's ready to learn today? Because I know I'm ready to teach you guys all sorts of things about language. Thank you, Monica. Monica says she's ready. I'm also ready. And as always, okay, like I said, we're doing active and passive voice. As always, I first have to start with giving some of my learners a big shout out for being the real MVPs. And yesterday, we had the highest number of learners submit tasks to me via email, and I was so happy to see that I had 4 learners submit things to me yesterday. And a quick shout out to Albakwe, who submitted to me his table. Well done, Albakwe. Another shout out, big shout out to Bongiwe. Thank you so much, Bongiwe, for sending me your table as well. Another shout out to Shanae van Eden. Thank you so much, Shanae, for submitting your work on time. It makes me very, very happy when learners submit their work. And the last learner today, our favorite, Monica. Thank you so much, guys, for submitting your work on time. I went through the tables thoroughly and I noticed that every one of you guys got the answers correct on the table. And hopefully, the others who were not able to submit got the answers correct on their tables as well. So, thank you so much to all the learners who submitted. Let's quickly recap on yesterday's work. Yesterday we did tenses. So if you didn't join us for yesterday's lesson, we did tenses. And yesterday we learned that tense is the time an action takes place in a text. It can be past tense, which means it has already happened, or present tense, which means it is happening now. And a lot of you guys were excited by yesterday's lesson. We had so much fun because we learned simple present, we learned simple past tenses, are the only tenses in which the verb is made up of just one verb. We went through a lot of examples, and a lot of you guys found yesterday's lesson thoroughly enjoyable. Today, we are doing active and passive voice. A lot of you guys may not know what active and passive voice is. It's a very confusing language subject, but trust me, at the end of this lesson, you will know what active and passive voice is. You will know how to identify active voice. You will know how to identify passive voice and how to use different tenses correctly. Are you ready? Let's get to it. Oh, I see Palisa says she's done it here in grade 8 and 9. Yeah, we do a lot in grade 8 and 9. In grade 10, it's just a quick revision and lessons just to make sure that you are kept abreast by your knowledge of active and passive voices. Before we begin with our lesson, I just want to acknowledge Macmillan English Home Language Grade 10 Learner Book. This is the textbook I've used to prep this lesson. If you have this textbook, please make sure that you use it. There are a lot of ebooks that are free from Macmillan, and I just want to give a quick shout out to Macmillan for allowing us to use their free resources. Right, so active and passive voice. In grammar, the voice of the verb describes the relationship between the subject, verb, and the object. When the subject is the doer of the action, the verb is active voice. When the subject is the receiver of the action, it should be passive voice. And I know maybe a lot of you guys are like, what is she talking about? Don't worry. I am going to solve all of these mysteries right now. Let's first look at active voice. In active voice, the subject performs the action, and the pattern in the sentence will be subject, verb, and object. Remember, we said in active voice, we said the subject performs the action. Let's look at our example quickly. Our subject in the example below is Billy, and Billy jumps on the bed. So, in the specific subject, right, the subject is the one performing the action. And our subject here is Billy. And what is Billy doing? Billy is jumping on the bed. So Billy jumps on the bed. And the bed is the object. You understand? So I'm going to explain it one more time before I look at more examples. They say here in active voice, the subject performs the action. So the pattern of a sentence in active voice is subject, verb, object, right? Let's look at the example below. Billy jumps on the bed. Billy is our subject, jumps is our verb, and the bed is our object. So how is the subject performing the verb here? We know that our subject is Billy, right? And the sentence is telling us that Billy is jumping on the bed. And if a sentence has the pattern of subject, verb, object, that is what we refer to as active voice. Right, yes, Megan, he's jumping, which is something you're not supposed to be doing on a bed. Right, let's look at the next example. Zintle runs on the treadmill. Our subject is Zintle, our verb is runs, and our object is treadmill. So Zintle is performing the action of running. That's why the sentence is written in active voice. The examples given above show the subject performing the action. So the subject, Zintle, is running, and the subject, Billy, is jumping. Does it make sense? Are we all getting it? Okay. Yes, yes, everyone's getting it. Awesome. Let's move on to more examples. So active voice, remember, is in the following order: subject, verb, object, right? So let's look at our first example. Harry ate 6 shrimp at dinner. So our subject is Harry. Our verb is ate. And the object is 6 shrimp. Giraffes roam the savannah. Our subject here is giraffes. The verb is roam. And our object is savannah. Let's look at the next example. The crew paved the entire stretch of the highway. Our subject is the crew. The verb is paved. Mom read the novel. Our verb is read and novel. And the last example, I will clean the house every Saturday. Our subject is verb is will clean and our. So when you are writing in active voice, you carry out this specific order. The subject comes first, the verb comes second, and the object comes last. Are we all still together? I hear there's something wrong with the audio. Are they learners who can't hear me? Okay, so can you guys hear me? What are you saying yes to? Okay, right, so people can hear me. Thank you. Right, so basically, active voice is simple. It's easy. But then it changes when it comes to passive voice. In passive voice, the subject has the action done to it. The pattern in the sentence is object, verb, and subject. Okay, I hear that I'm breaking up. Let me try and fix my connection quickly. Right. Hopefully now everyone can hear me clearly. Right. So remember with active voice, we have the pattern subject, verb, object. With passive voice, it changes around. So the object comes first, the verb stays the same, and the subject comes last. So we have object, verb, and subject. Let's look at the examples below. Tom painted the entire house. So what is our subject in the sentence? Tom. Tom is our subject. And what is the verb? Painted. Painted is our verb. And what is the object? The entire house is the object. Are we all getting it? The first sentence is written in active voice. Let's look at how the second sentence looks. Remember, with passive voice, we change it around. The object comes first. So we've taken the entire house at the end of the first sentence and we've put it in front of the second sentence. So the second sentence will go this way. The entire house was painted by Tom. So the entire house is our object, was painted is our verb, and Tom is our subject. So our subject goes to the end of the sentence. And if you look at it carefully, we've added an auxiliary verb before the original verb. And the auxiliary verb is was. You guys get it? Right. Let's look at the second example. In active voice, you would have it as followed. The choir really enjoys that piece. Right? That's active voice. If we had to write it in passive voice, we would say that piece was enjoyed by the choir. So we would start the sentence object, and the object becomes was enjoyed, enjoys to past tense, and added the suffix ed at the end, then we've added the word by the choir. Are you guys getting it? Does it make sense? The second one is written in passive voice. The first one is written in active voice. So when you have the object coming first, it's passive voice. Okay, can everyone hear me now? Because learners are saying I keep breaking up. Can learners hear me now? I just need a yes or a no if you can hear me clearly. Awesome. Right, let's move on to more examples, right? Passive voice. To change the sentence from active to passive voice, you identify the verb, the subject, and the object. Let's look at the following sentence. The two kings are assigning the treaty. Our subject in the sentence is the two kings. Our verb is are signing. And the object is the treaty. Can you see? This sentence is written in active voice. But then now we have to change it into passive voice. And if we change it into passive voice, we begin the sentence with an object, then use the verb, and then the subject. You can use an auxiliary verb with the verb for a smooth transition. Yes, Lion King, the kings are the subject. And remember, if you want to write your sentence in passive voice, the subject goes to the end. So we would begin our sentence with the object. And if we look at this example, our object was the treaty, right? So the treaty comes to the front of the sentence. And we have the treaty is being signed by the two kings. And in between our verb, remember our verb was are signing, right? And remember are changes into is. But it still didn't sound right. So we had to add the auxiliary verb being, right? Then signed by the two kings. Active and passive voice is very tricky, but what you need to understand is in active voice, you start with your subject, comes the verb, comes the object. With passive voice, you start with the object, comes the verb, comes the subject. Yes, you do have the option, Zilnay, of including the auxiliary verb or not. But if you want your sentence to sound smoother, you will have to include the auxiliary verb. Right, let's practice because this is tricky. Okay, so if the word collect is written in active voice, what would it be in passive voice? I collect the mail from the post office. The mail is collected by myself from the post office. Remember, we have to have a verb, an auxiliary verb before the actual verb. So the correct answer is collected or are collected. Do you understand? Let's try it with the next one. If the active is performed, what is the passive? Is performed. That's correct. Is or are performed. Right, Tina, remember you have to add the auxiliary verb before the verb. Let's try the next one. Decorate. In passive voice, is decorated or are decorated. Well done, Monica. Let's do the next one. Light. Light in active voice, in passive voice. Megan, yeah. Is or are lit. Lionheart. That one was tricky. So it is lit or are lit. It's lit. Right. Sweep. Is or are swept. Swept. Yes, still nay, it's swept. And the last one, burn. Mm-hmm. Is or are burnt, Vicky, not burned. Burnt. Right. You guys get it? Yes, Hubi. Can be is or can be are burnt. Yes, you get it a bit, right? Let's practice some more. Okay. This sentence is written in active voice. And it's people eat mooncakes at Mid-Autumn Festival. What do you think the sentence could be in passive voice? Who can give me this sentence in passive voice? The whole sentence, Vicky. Remember, our object comes to the front and our subject the end. Our object in the sentence is mooncakes and our subject is people. Well done, Nelly. Well done, Nelly. Although by people goes before Autumn Festival. So the correct answer is mooncakes are eaten by people at Mid-Autumn Festivals. Okay, let's look at the sentence quickly. It is going to be tricky for you because you haven't done this a lot. But look at our subject. Our subject is people, right? And people goes before the place, which is Mid-Autumn Festival, right? Mooncakes comes to the front of the sentence. Eats becomes are eaten in passive. All right. Let's look at the next example. People sweep graves with brooms at Qingming Festival. What is the correct answer? Remember, we start with our object, which is graves. Yes, graves are swept with brooms by people at Qingming festivals. Zilnay, remember, by people must go before the place. Yes. Let's try the next one. This is the last one. No, Vicky, it doesn't start with brooms. Remember, I have highlighted all of the objects for you, right? Let's look at this example quickly. People light lanterns at Mid-Autumn festivals. Our object is lanterns. So we would, yes, well done, Monica. Lanterns are lit by people at Mid Autumn Festival. Well done, guys. So now we finally get it. Yay! Lanterns is our object. Remember, it goes first. Then our verb light changes to is or are lit. By people goes before the place. At Mid-Autumn Festivals. Okay. Let's do another example. Actually, it's kind of like a game. So let's play a game. Right. Let's look at the first one. People sweep graves. That's active voice. What is it in? Passive voice. Graves are swept. Well done, Monica. Well done, Lionheart. Well done, Palesa. Yes, it's the yellow one, Carolina. Graves are swept. Let's look at the next one. People buy flowers. Buy some flowers. Some flowers are bought. Are bought is the correct answer. Well done, everyone. The next one. Miss Lee paints a picture. A picture by Miss Lee is painted by Miss Lee. Well done, Sarah. Yes, it's pink. The next one. Well done, everyone. We're all getting it. The brother make a cake. Well done. A cake is made by the brother. Well done, everyone. Right, let's move on to the next one. John buys some new clothes. The green, yes. Some new clothes are bought by John. Some new clothes are bought by John. Right. Let's look at the next one. Everyone is getting this. I'm so happy. The family cleans the house. The house is cleaned by the family. Well done. It's the first one. Let's look at the next example. Mr. Chan places some flowers. Some flowers, well done, are placed by Mr. Chan. So we're all getting this now. Right, let's look at the next one. Sally throws the old things. The old things, well done, are thrown by Sally. Well done, guys. Let's look at the last one. Peter draws a car. The second one, a car is drawn by Peter. Right, let's look at the next one. Mr. and Mrs. Wu bake a cake. Well done. It's number 2. A cake is baked by Mr. and Mrs. Wu. Can you guys see how easy it is? Remember the pattern. For active voice, we have our subject, our verb, and our object. Let's look at Mrs. Wu, Mr. and Mrs. Wu quickly. Mr. and Mrs. Wu are the subject. Bake is our verb, and a cake is our object. If we had to write it in passive voice, we would start with our object, come with our verb, and then our subject. So our object is a cake, and our verb is baked by Mr. and Mrs. Wu. Right. Very, 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 very nice lesson today. Nice, short, and sweet. So if you have any other work that you would still like to email me, you can send it to me at langa.pearl@gmail.com. Here's my email address. If you have any work at all, you can email it to me at langa.pearl@gmail.com. Yes, Monica, it's over already. We had a very nice, short, sweet class today, and it moved on very, very, very quickly. Yes, it felt really, really short, but we've actually been here for more than 30 minutes. Right. Let's quickly recap before you guys leave. Remember, in grammar, the voice of the verb describes the relationship between the subject, verb, and object. When the subject is the doer of the action, the verb is active. When the subject is the receiver of the action, it is said to be passive. Right. Thank you so much, guys, for joining in today's lesson. I will see you guys tomorrow again, same time, same place, and we'll be looking at language structures and conventions, prepositions. Thank you so much, guys, and please link up with us on www.africateengeeks.co.za. You can link up with me at langa.pearl@gmail.com. See you all tomorrow, guys. Catch us on Twitter. Those are our handles, and you can catch me on Facebook. Thank you so, so, so much for joining in today's lesson. I hope you guys are staying safe and healthy. Bye.